Hi everyone, this is Rachel Hollis, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our Module 3 lab today. So if you're here with us, you should have been on this page in Canvas where it talks about what we'll be doing for the lab. You will need to download the in-website files unless you have those from the Module 2 lab, which you should. Then you can just work from that. And then you're also going to need to download this PDF that has the step-by-step tutorial to finish out this lab. So the video I'm going to make today is going to prepare you to finish up that tutorial. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up Dreamweaver. The instructional PDF that you're going to be following is for an older version of Dreamweaver. It's been updated since then and it's now Adobe Dreamweaver. So this is what it looks like when you open it up from the Creative Cloud. You have a welcome page here, and then you have the option to create new or open. Then over on the right side of your screen, you have the computer files that you can set up where you want your files to be saved, and you can actually look at your folder structure here in the Files panel. Okay. So if you open up that little PDF that we have, it's going to talk a little bit about Dreamweaver and what it is used for. Dreamweaver is used to create websites using HTML code, but it's also what we call a what you see is what you get editor. And so it tries to provide an accurate picture of what your website is going to look like when previewed in a browser. However, it's not always 100% accurate, so you still want to preview those pages in a browser and make sure that it's going to look good on everybody's computer. So let's talk a little bit first about how websites work. If you are familiar with servers or anything like that, you'll know that the website files are created on a computer and then they're uploaded to what we call a server, and a server can be accessed 24/7 and it's connected to the World Wide Web. So that server holds all of the files and assets that make up a website so that those can be accessed anytime using a URL, which is called a Uniform Resource Locator. So the URL that you type in at the top of the browser accesses the files for that website on the server. And it could be a server anywhere in the world. That's why we call it the World Wide Web. So when you're creating a website, you create those files, you upload them to a server for everybody to access at any time of day. Then when somebody goes to your website, your computer downloads that information to display it in your browser. Or if you go on your phone, your browser will display the information needed to make the website look like what it does. Okay, so this website that we're going to be looking at and creating is called the Inn at Birch Bay. And the first thing you're going to be doing is setting up the folder structure, defining the site, and then we will actually create the HTML pages. So let's go down here and talk about the folder structure. So we should already have that set up. You should have inside of your class folder, you should have the Module 2 in website, okay? And we already created our homepage.html with the assets, okay? But we're going to go back now and we're just going to be using the assets folder basically. Okay, so you want to create another folder called in website DW. That's the Dreamweaver in website. And I've put this one inside of module 3 because we're now working on module 3. So it's kind of like it's a copy of the one from module 2, but we don't need the template. Okay. So this is actually your PDF, so you don't need that in there either. Okay, so you should have in website DW, and then inside that you should have an assets folder with 3 GIFs and a JPEG. So once you've set all that up, then you're ready to actually go into Dreamweaver. Okay, so let's take a look at Dreamweaver. Right now, we just need to set up our site. Okay, so we're not going to create our new page yet. We're going to go over to Manage Sites, or you can go up to the Site menu and go to Manage Sites. So when you are starting in Dreamweaver, you want to define your website, and we'll call this in at Birch Bay. And then you need to navigate to the local site folder, which we're calling the root folder. Okay, so our root folder is that in website folder that's inside of module 3 that we just created. Okay, so this in website DW is our root folder. So go ahead and choose that. And then right now we're not going to worry about setting up the server, but if you wanted to transfer your files to a server, then you go to this servers section on the site setup. And you can add all of your server information in here. When you are setting up a website, you will usually purchase the domain name and the hosting through a company, and usually I use one called prointernethosting.com. There's also like GoDaddy, Bluehost, any of those to purchase your domain name and your hosting. Okay, so when you purchase your domain name and hosting, they will give you all this information. So you'll have an FTP address, and then you'll use a username and password, and then you can test to where it's test the server connection. Okay, so if you actually want to connect to some hosting and get your site going live, this is what you'll use. Okay, but we're not going to worry about that today. So once you create your site, you're just going to click Save. And what that does is it creates a cache with your local root folder. Okay, so we're going to click Done. And then over here, you're going to see this is your site in at Birch Bay. And then it's accessing that folder and what's inside of it. So what's inside of that folder is another folder called Assets with our images that we need. Okay. So once you get that set up, then you're ready to get going on the tutorial. Okay. So just a little bit of a snippet about Dreamweaver. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click Create New so you can see what that looks like. If you click Create New, you choose your document type. Most of the time it's going to be HTML. Sometimes you'll need to use CSS, and sometimes you might want to use templates, but right now we're just going to do HTML, and we're going to click Create. Alright, so this is a blank HTML document. You're going to see that there's some different views that you can use in Dreamweaver. So automatically, Dreamweaver helps you out with the code. So unlike when we were using our text editor or Notepad where we had to type everything out, Dreamweaver is going to help you out. So chooses your doc type. It puts your HTML, opening and closing tags, head, section, meta, and title, and body. Okay, and the nice thing about editing code in Dreamweaver is that it kind of helps you with autocorrecting, and it also helps you with opening and closing tags. Like if you forget a closing tag, it will kind of remind you and put a little red mark over here so that you know that you're missing something. Okay, so there's a few different ways to view your document. You can use code view, which will just show you the HTML code lines. These are also color coded to make it a little bit easier for you to read. You can look at it in split view, or you can look at it in design view, and then this is what supposedly it would look like in your browser. So we don't have anything on there right now. If you change to live view, that's supposed to be more of a correct representation of what it would look like in your browser, so you can switch back and forth between those two. I like to work in split view because I like to see kind of what it looks like on my page, but I also like to see the code. Now, when you want to preview your page in a browser, you can go down to this little globe and it says preview, and then it has all your browsers right here that you can use to preview your page. So if you want to check it out in a browser, you can do that. Alright, so I think you're ready to get started with the step-by-step tutorial, and you will be creating, I believe, 4 different HTML pages with different content. So as you follow through with this tutorial, you're going to be adding placeholders and different images. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can go to the Module 3 General Questions discussion right here, and you can post any questions that you have there.